Hello and welcome. This is Africa in 10 minutes, where we bring to you trending business news from around the continent this week, courtesy Footprint to Africa. My name is Mike Messi-Kenor. It's great to have you on the show. Let's take a look at the highlights this week. CBN injects $413.5 million into forex market. And in Egypt, EBRD approves of $500 million to build 16 solar power plants. 3 renewable energy projects in Africa win $7 million development funding. Ultra-modern milk factory opened in Kenya. Israel and Angola focus on small and medium-sized enterprises. Orange commits €50 million for the development of startups in Africa. EIB invests €24 million in Africa mobile networks to connect 4 million rural Africans. And now, the news in details. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Monday intervened in the interbank foreign exchange market to the tune of $413.5 million to further shore up the international value of the naira. The CBN Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Isaac Okorafor, in a statement in Abuja, said that the latest intervention underscores the Apex Bank's resolve to sustain liquidity in the foreign exchange market. The CBN offered a sum of $100 million to dealers in the wholesale window, while the small and medium enterprises SMEs window was allocated a total of $28 million. According to Mr. Okorafor, the bank has also released the figures for the auction sales in the retail window last week, totaling $260 million. A renewable energy in Egypt has received the boost following the approval of a $500 million loan from the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development (EBRD) to finance the construction of 16 plants that will deliver 750 megawatts of solar photovoltaic power across the country. The financing supports the development of private renewable energy projects under the Egyptian government's feed-in tariff program that aims to stimulate private investment in over 4 gigawatts of wind and solar power. EBRD has been working with Egyptian authorities to meet their goals in the area since 2014. This is a major milestone in our support for renewable energy in Egypt. We are delighted now to be in a position to commit a very significant financing to projects which we expect to start construction before the end of 2017, said Henry Boyd Carpenter, Director, Head of Power and Energy. 3 projects from Tanzania, Rwanda and Ghana have been announced as winners of the $7 million Access Co-Development Facility ACF, an innovative funding and support platform for renewable energy projects on the continent. Now, ACF is a partnership between Access Power, a developer, owner and operator of renewable power projects in emerging markets, and global independent power producer ERN Renewable Energy. Access Power currently has more than 1,000 megawatts pipeline of power projects and over $650 million assets under development across 15 countries in Africa, including a 10 megawatt solar project in Soroti, Uganda, another 126 megawatts and 150 million facility in Aswan, Governorate, Egypt, and the 50 megawatts PE wind project in Lagos, Nigeria. The 3 winning projects were selected by a panel of industry expert judges based on their commercial, technical, and environmental benefits, in addition to the local regulatory environment and capability of the project teams from a diverse pool of 82 projects from across 23 countries in Africa. The new Kenya Cooperative Creameries KCC ultra-modern UHT production unit that is expected to turn around the fortunes of dairy farmers has been opened in Eldoret, Kenya. The ultra-modern milk factory, the biggest and the most modern of its kind in East and Central Africa, has the capacity to convert milk into powder and later on reconstitute it to long-life milk. Unveiling the new plant, President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the Kenyan government would zero-rate all milk products and remove import duties on yellow maize used for making animals' feeds to increase the income of dairy farmers. Orange has created a new Africa section in its Orange Digital Ventures program for investment in startups and committed 50 million euros to the initiative, which will leverage the operator's assets in Africa to support startups providing solutions to the continent's fundamental challenges. Orange Digital Ventures Africa will invest in early-stage innovation projects in new connectivities, enterprise cloud and data, fintech, the Internet of Things, and new business models, whether they are geographically based in Africa or they address African issues from outside the continent. The European Investment Bank EIB has invested 24 million euros in a project by Africa Mobile Networks that will connect 4 million people in rural Africa to mobile phone networks for the first time. The EU bank has announced the rollout of coverage in the rural areas of the Democratic Republic of Congo and Cameroon in the project that will see the construction of 1,000 new solar-powered mobile phone base stations. Mobile phone usage has radically increased across African cities over the last decade. However, more than 2/3 of Africa's poorest and most vulnerable people remain digitally disconnected and excluded from telecom coverage with the economic and social opportunities it provides, said European Investment Bank Vice President Pim van Balekom. Angolan-Israeli partnerships should be directed to small and medium-sized enterprises in order to encourage private national entrepreneurship, fostering their development and creating more jobs, said the Angolan ambassador to State of Israel Feliciano Antonio dos Santos. According to the diplomat, small and medium-sized enterprises have been the main support for modern economies, including those in developed countries, for contributing to the reduction of unemployment. Speaking at the opening of the first Angola-Israel Business Forum under the motto Together for Development, Feliciano Antonio dos Santos considered that Angola has recorded a satisfactory level of economic growth, being a land of great business opportunities. On that note, we draw the curtains on this week's episode of Africa in 10 minutes. Let's take a recap of the stories. CBN injects 413.5 million into forex market. And in Egypt, EBRD approves of $500 million to build 16 solar power plants. 3 renewable energy projects in Africa win $7 million development funding. Ultra-modern milk factory opened in Kenya. Israel and Angola focus on small and medium-sized enterprises. Orange commits 50 million euros for the development of startups in Africa. EIB invests 24 million euros in Africa Mobile Networks to connect 4 million rural Africans. For questions, comments, or to keep up with the trending business news, stay connected. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect with us on LinkedIn. These news and reports are called from Footprint to Africa. For daily updates and more business news in Africa, visit www.footprint2africa.com today. Footprint to Africa, business news made in Africa by Africans.